layers of self.
The embryo membranes that were placed upon you right at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Your connection to the, if you want to call it that.
Good analogy. If they know the definition of the matrix.
Yeah, that's what I'm on about, and some aren't.
No.
And he isn't. He does something fucking very irritating as well. This is where I'm trying to explain something, and he'll intercept it with his interpretation of what he thinks. And
Yeah.
I nearly said to him, "Will you stop fucking trying to guess this?" You know what I mean? You don't know the answer.
No.
Okay, you have to work towards this. I'm happy to give you a leg up, a lift up here, but you need to go and find this out for yourself, because what I'm telling you is my perspective. My perspective is my perspective. I don't know how anybody else sees, smells, feels, whatever. I cannot be privy to any of that kind of information. So all I can do with each and every one of us is communicate through the idea of language and art. Right? That's it. That is it. That's the only way that we can communicate, which is fucking fantastic. So please don't sit there and fucking start coming out with your sort of like your interpretations of what I'm saying. Right? It's not right. And that's why I ripped into him a bit. Like, you got chords, and I can't. I'm tired. Right, I'm 31 years older than you. That's something else that you're not taking into consideration, right?
I've seen things.
You're a young man who has got his whole life ahead of him to experience all of this stuff. If that's what you're choosing to do, I've already been there.
Yeah.
I'm still in it. I'm never going to come out of it, because and I had to do this because I wanted to do this, because I don't want to be a part of that anymore. So don't drag me back in there. Do it yourself. I want you to make some effort. Find like-minded people that can help you and get up.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. And it's not like it's weekend fucking sort of hobby. This. It's a 24/7.
It's life.
You're dreaming it. You're waking up with it. You are practicing it through the day. You are taking on new ideas. You are a work in progress, the same as everything else in the cosmos.
Yeah.
You are constantly in a state of flux. And that's what you need to understand as well.
Yeah, but most people can't.
Because you're going to die and die and die and die and all through one lifetime by shedding off bits of you that fucking like no longer serve you.
Yeah.
You need to understand that as well.
But come to terms with it. But that accepting of that concept alone, like as soon as you say you're gonna die and die and die and die, and then after you've died, you're gonna fucking die again. There's so many deaths, and people have this thing where they just focus on that. Oh no, that's not. I know the Grim Reaper is bad. I don't want to do that. So it's so fucking fascinating.
Well, I like saying to people with regards to dying, sort of like, everything on this planet has been doing it for billions of years.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seasons.
Including what else is in the cosmos. It's just your physical.
That is also something that you can't just say to people. It's just your physical. But I am my physical. No, you're not. You're actually just a composition of energy. You're just a black hole. No!
I'm sorry to say, but you've just completely missed out on sort of like the idea of duality.
Yeah, exactly.
physical inhabitation of a meat sack, whilst you are pure conscious energy, fucking like that is experiencing itself as well as everything else. You are the universe
Through itself.
right?
Yeah.
I watched a rather fascinating short video yesterday, actually, of an interpretation of how big the universe actually is. Not as in a measurement size, but
Yeah.
in a sort of construct sort of size. And the idea behind it, which I absolutely loved and was like, oh okay, yeah, this is cool. Was that what's going to happen? That's what's happening is it's expanding at such a rate.
Mm.
Okay, they can't keep up with it, but
No.
it's expanding at such a rate that their interpretation of it, and this is what I loved about it, was that once it gets to that event horizon kind of fucking like moment, the balloon pops,
Mm.
right, and then we have the second Big Bang.
Yeah, it's like a death. It's like a rebirth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everything is just going to go.
Yeah.
And then, and we'll have another go at doing this as well. I watched some guy some time ago. I don't know whether I forwarded his page to you. A guy called
Morg.
Now he was coming out with sort of like that he'd actually gone inside himself and seen the actual beginnings of this as a human sort of like concept understanding with two polarities actually being two figures, if you like, two conscious, right? And that and that they were sort of like saying, well, okay, well, what do we do now? And it's like, okay, well, we're now going to go our separate ways again. We're going to actually forget about ourselves, and we're going to re-experience ourselves and do a new learning. So, in the effect of it, if you want to call it a religious God that has divided itself.
I think God, if you remove the word religion, God is 100% apt.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's also showing that God is not sort of perfect either, because God is a constant.
Yeah. It's you.
Yeah, exactly. It's us. That's where I'm saying we are all part of.
Yeah.
And proving that none of it is perfect.
Yeah.
There is no such thing as perfection whatsoever. The only thing that you're actually getting, I feel like fucking Swami here this morning. This is great.
It is.
The only thing that you'll get out of it, it's not perfection, is understanding.
Yeah. Accepting.
That as well, yes. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that when you see things that you previously thought impossible, then you can't not accept it. There was one thing, because you say that the universe is expanding faster than we can fathom. And there are two theories that really fascinates me. First of all, when Einstein were doing his thing, there was another guy that said that, I think his name was Johnson or something, as long as we are looking for things, if we're looking into the macro, into the universe, or if we're looking into the micro, into the quantum realm, we will always find what we're looking for, because the conscious thought of us looking for it is going to create it. So we're going to create technology that's going to find it, right?
Manifestation.
Yeah, exactly. And then if more and more people are getting into the fact that they can manifest, then of course the universe will just continue to manifest or create it itself faster and faster and faster. So that fascinated me for a long time. But then they had this other thing that shifted my reality. When I knew that, the science, I guess, the math behind why we are energy, what happens if you look at us from a microscope of like a billion times in, like you just zoom all the way into us. we are vibrations at a Planck scale. And then to really put that into perspective, a Planck scale, how huge is that, right? If we see the universe, the entire known universe, fitting inside of the space of an atom, that is already kind of tiny, then a Planck scale is a tree in that universe. So then you have something that is very tiny, right? But if we are just a composition of that, and we are just that energy, that source creation, then we can create anything. And it just doesn't matter how long it's going to take. I think that the more true and aligned you are with yourself, the faster it's going to happen. Now I have to think about what I'm thinking about because it's happening. As soon as I think about it, it's just, there you go. I was like, shit, now what? Yeah.
Well, that's you connecting with yourself, your authentic, your that's the deconstruction that you have to go through to get to the reconstruction.
Yes.
And the reconstruction is also the manifestation.
Exactly. And it's really easy. You know, that day when I blew the horn, I spoke with a friend of mine, and we had already, he's a poet, and he left India to go to Barcelona to be a photographer, and he manifested that entire life. Now he is in Barcelona, right? And we talked, and we came up with that whole concept of SLS, which is now being written into psychiatry through a thesis for a PhD degree that is actually going to change things in that area as well. And then, you know, SLS was just so simple. You are at a place where you feel better than good. You know, it's not happiness, it's not fulfillment, it's something completely different because it's so much lighter, it's so much more powerful. It's like when your soul has that boom, when you're just vibrating and it just takes you to where you have to go. That was SLS, and it's literally just the combination of two words, esas and følelse. So feeling in Hindu and feeling in Norwegian, SLS. And we like that. It was also a very new word. Nobody has ever said that word. There was no mention of it online. Nobody has said it. So I was like, interesting. But how do you get to SLS? Do dispute. If you're going to go through life and you say that you want this and you want that, but you're not doing the thing that is required for you to get it, you're not walking your talk. You're not just spewing a lot of words, but you're not doing the things, then you're not doing dispute. But if you do dispute, then you're starting to see things happening. You're getting mastery. You're seeing that it was actually happening. It was possible. You see life in a different reality. And then it was like, but what do you call that when you have done dispute? Like a past tense do dispute. Well, you did dispute, so maybe it's just disputed. So the more you disputed, the more you get into SLS. The more channels you open up, right? It became so easy.
It's fucking excellent.
Right? And all those three words have never been uttered before. It's a completely new concept. And then the fucking horn happened. So now we're like, we're building the plane in the air.
Good. Good.
Yeah.
Love it.
Creating.
Love it. Yes, creating, exactly. And it's beneficial for all. That's the point of it. It's not a it's not a agreed fucking like sort of like thing. That's what I'm liking about sort of like most of this stuff. I love how this is also sort of like these are the keys to actually deconstruct the matrix.
Exactly.
Put in place. We are the deconstructors and the constructors at the same time. I'm finding that fascinating.
Yeah, same here. And I think that is exactly what Andrew Tate is doing without the whole arrogance and without the toxic masculinity and without the words that can harm people. Because the way I see it, we have reached a point where we are able to live in fulfillment. Andrew Tate, he says a lot of stupid stuff sometimes, but he also says a lot of things that actually has meaning, right?
Okay.
But he's cloaked in the way he sees the world, in fear. Like he says that he's going to die. He's going to be killed. He has converted to Islam, so he's putting all of his faith in a external force than what he has inside of himself. and all these things, if you took Andrew Tate's impact, his influence, and you added this mutually beneficial love component where it was done to wake people up to themselves, to their own power, and not being rooted in material gain, then I think you have a powerful fucking system to wake up a lot of people. And
Most definitely.
yeah, and the more I'm talking about these things, the more I realize that this is exactly what's happening. More and more people, like Morg, like all these different individuals who have their own unique take on this concept that we're all talking about. The more people that wakes up, the stronger that energy field is going to be, and the energy raises more of the people. So the tide raises all boats. Energy attracts more of the same. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, 5D, hello. So I think that what we're
Right.
doing right now is going to do a lot of things for the good.
Yeah, most definitely. And here's another part that you just touched on there, which I picked up on, was and it went back to what I was saying about sort of how none of us can actually experience
Mm.
what the other person is experiencing. We can only do this through, sort of like art and through and through word. Okay,
That is doing this spew.
but the point of it that I really really love is it's also showing sort of like that that we are individuals. We have to be individuals, and it's good that we're individuals, that we're not herded like sheep as we were.
As
we
most
are
people are.
we are not meant to be like that.
No.
It's destroying everything. It's destroying souls.
Yeah.
That's And I believe that is another part of this actual ascension sort of like program which is in place now, that sort of like source has got so many damaged souls coming in there that it can't cope with it anymore. It's like, no, you've got to go back, you've got to reincarnate, you're going to have to experience this again, you're going to have to relearn it, and so on and so on. And then this system that they have in place is this fear-based system,
Yeah.
right? And this greed, all of the very dense 3D aspects
Mm.
that have to start being dissolved now, because
Exactly.
because what is going to happen is it's going to destroy all of this,
Yeah.
and we can't let that happen. It's not in our program to actually let that happen. That's how I'm looking at it. But I
Yeah.
love the fact the individuality, start accepting us as individuals, and respecting us for our own individuality, even though we're kind of saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just a different aspect, it's a different point of view on the same, and that makes it even more colorful. That's fucking awesome.
Exactly. Because we're all part of that collective consciousness, but we also have our individual experiences. So how that's like when you're a follower. You go into a religion, or you go into a spiritual practice, and you're just looking for the book and the recipe. No, find yours. Find yours, and then that will create some ripples.
There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
totally, absolutely agree. Yeah, and then you can have the sort of like then you can have that sort of like that wonderful feeling of self, so that you can actually convey this to others, and you will find that you can communicate. You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about sort of like, oh, well, no, don't talk to him, he's fucking mental, he's coming
Exactly.
out with fucking new age hippie shit. Like, no, it's not.
No.
Have the belief in yourself that what you're feeling is your true gut feeling. It's you. You don't need to go looking for another fucking like sort of smeg fridge freezer just because it looks good, right?
God damn, bro. Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
what?
I had forgotten about what smeg meant. So thank you for that. But
Yeah,
see,
yeah, well, like that always got me with the sort of
yeah,
like when they named it that, I was like, why would you call a fridge freezer smeg? Come
yeah,
on, seriously.
yeah. But you said something very important, because I think this is one of those things that is impactful. Basically, when people start to think about what they should do, they start to rationalize. They start to kind of justify something and start to come up with pros and cons instead of feeling, right?
Pull it apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just feeling it and then just going with that feeling, then
Let it grow.
let it grow.
Yeah, it's already there, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's already there. It's part of you. So why are you taking yourself apart? Exactly. You don't need to do that. Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Not doing unless you're somebody fucking stupid like Hitler or Putin, then have a word with yourself.
But to be honest, think about that. They believe in themselves. See what they did.
They did believe in themselves.
So the programming was kind of fucked, but they did believe in themselves and they achieved some serious stuff.
That's my point. Unless you see sort of like negative flaws in it.
Yeah, because I can rip off like Andrew Tate. I can say that I don't believe the things that he's believing, but his frequency of his belief is allowing him to do the things he's doing. So it's for him, it's okay. It's like it's neither wrong or right. We have the responsibility to take that as some input and then believe in ourselves. You know, using that as something for ourselves instead of putting that out and then following. Yeah. Everyone has something to teach, but most people just look for that instant gratification and that little red magic pill.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Or actually, two. And they take this, the blue one. And they don't do the spew, so they don't get that whole themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hence, like what I was saying about 𝐤𝐿. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
no. Now you need to start doing this.
Yes.
This isn't a case of me guiding you for the rest of your life. I'm sorry, I don't want that responsibility. What I'm doing is just giving you this opportunity now. You came to me, you started speaking to me about this, so obviously there was a connection here.
Yeah.
But that connection does not sort of like mean that I am here writing the fucking book for you.
No.
I've got my own life and my own experiences and my own understandings to work with.
Yeah. Which is a great freaking point, because the best thing, my theory, is the best thing that anyone can do is just be themselves. Because you can't teach people love. They can experience love, and they can experience specters of love. So if you just be yourself, and as you said before, if you can make people feel, and now I have come into a completely new realization about this. You can do that through food, music, conversation, sex, travel, meditation, so many different things. If you make them feel, you are now communicating a part of your soul, and then it's up to them to take that as something they want to take with them or something they want to attach themselves to. Because if you make a person feel good in this day and age, they might fall in love with you. And they think that the only way they can feel like this is through you. But it's not. If you just find your pure frequency, you can do that all the time. Like blowing a fucking horn.
Right.
Yeah. Experiences.
Absolutely. Yes, experiences. That's because that's what it is.
It is. 100%.
You sitting here talking with me at the moment is an experience. We're sharing our experiences and our understandings, and we're growing from this. So we're building platforms of understanding. We're going up. It's ascension.
Exactly.
Right?
The only problem is you can lose time in that.
Time is irrelevant.
Yeah, but my son is sitting in there when we're supposed to go to the thing afterwards.
Then that is not irrelevant.
I have to pick up my daughter very soon too. But yeah, see, with the experience, time becomes irrelevant. And I think most people have not experienced how irrelevant time and these minor, menial, surface level, frictions can be. If you focus on the problems that don't really matter, like, oh my God, I'm not sure how much money I'm going to have next month. Well, right now you are not in the next month. You have every power right now to do anything else. So
just live in the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you only have the moment.
Exactly.
What happened a second ago is now in the past. What's coming in the next second will be the future, but it's irrelevant because it's a constant rolling motion. You can't see that. You can see that, but you can't see that. So you have to make that.
Well, actually, you can see that. That's the thing. You can see the future to some degree, because that's what I've been testing out. I've documented myself seeing the future, and it has happened exactly how. But I think that comes with you knowing your value. When you know what you can create, you're going to know the results of what you can create because of experience. So you now can create the future that you're going through.
I'm just going to add to that sort of like what we're talking about is actual mastery here.
Yeah.
Whereas for your normal AJ, your average Joe and your average Jane, as I now start calling them,
Yeah.
right?
AJ.
They're not. Do you like that?
I like that.
Then they're not capable of doing that. They want it, but also the other side, the other part of their want, their desire with it is for control. It's not to just experience.
Exactly.
They haven't learned to let go yet. So what they would like to do is still have control over this so that they can manipulate it to their desires instead of learning to create and then allow it to actually sort of like work its way, let the universe work with you, and it will happen.
It will.
And it's mastery. This
Yeah.
takes this does take time.
Yeah, and I also think that time is kind of it's up to you, because it's the accepting part that has taken the longest, right? You have to figure out where you're going to go, and then the more you accept, the faster you accept. That's why, I'm being called out, because I move on too quickly. It's not about moving on. It's about taking the experience and then allowing myself to seeing it, and then
Understanding it.
surrendering to the fact that it has happened and it has made me now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the faster that sort of like you actually start doing this yourself, the quicker that you will keep going up.
Yeah.
And that is, I would say that is an unfortunate of the ascension cycle with regards to other souls.
Yeah.
Is none of us do this exactly the same speed as everybody else. And unfortunately, there are people that we fall in love with and sort of like, that are part of our lives for whatever reason, that we kind of outgrow them. It's what happens. But it just shows you again that everything is a purely individual process.
Mm.
We should be happy with this all the way down the levels of and sort of like you should be sort of like congratulating somebody for graduating.
Mm.
Right? Because this is what it is. You've graduated, and it's like, okay, well, I can't keep up with this. I'm obviously not ready. You have no reason to feel jealous or sort of like ashamed about this at all. You should be looking at that person and go like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it.
That's the fucking jizz of the cum. Yes. Where did that come from? Yes. You should be happy for people. You should be actually thankful that they have done that so that you can see that it is possible. Now they did. You can do. Dispute.
Exactly. You're giving yourself growth.
Yeah.
You're giving yourself room and to move forward. It's like this is inspirational.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
It's not actually doing what they're doing because what they did was personal to them. So okay, but what do I need to do for me? Take that on board.
Yes. Hell yes.
Become your authentic self, because that's what you want. If you can see it and you can understand it in somebody else, then you know what it is that you want to be doing yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
I love that. Thank you. Yeah, because many people will see something like meditation. Just let's take a simple concept like that. If I was to sit down and I was sitting in an hour straight, and when I came out, I said like, "Oh, mama!" I sat there, and I felt lifted by the energies, and I felt me beaming from the head, and I felt energy all over the place, which has happened many times. Then some people might see that as a threat. As they're better than me. What the fuck? I don't like this, and they will put negative associations to it instead of seeing that is that possible. I will now start practicing this to see if I can do the same.
Exactly.
Holy yes. Holy yes.
Aspire to be, not push people away with jealousy because you think that you can't do it. You can do it. Of course you can. Not the same, but you're going to do your own interpretation of it, and you should be proud of your own interpretation.
Exactly. I have to bring back to that little sentence because that was a beautiful thing. Inspired to be, don't let yourself get down by jealousy because it is all up to me.
Yes.
Do the spew.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I love it. Okay, so now is the time that I should say that I've recorded this conversation, and I'm wondering if I just should toss that into the Legacy Forge, because this is one of those conversations we have. We just have these conversations.
I was actually going to say to you at the beginning, are you recording this? But you've beaten me to it. So no, please.
I've learned from my experiences.
Dude, we have a wonderful sort of like way of just hooking up with each other here, there, and no specific time scale, no specific agenda to it, and we have these conversations, and I love that.
Right, the energy shifts when you do that, right?
Yeah, I love having these chats with you. It's fucking awesome. It's fantastic. Makes me feel
back at you.
Makes me feel good. So if you want to use this, please, to everybody else that is going to listen to this, I hope this can be from me especially. I hope this can help you in some way.
I think it will. If people are open to hearing it and then integrating it and then thinking about how this could apply to them instead of seeing that this is something that only we have, because this is just a conversation.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It is a conversation, but all conversations are manifestations of thought, right?
Exactly.
So we are actually, what we're doing is clarifying our understandings here.
Yeah.
With each other, as much as you might see it and feel it a different way to me, but we still have a basic understanding of it.
Exactly.
And the basic understanding of it is we can do this, and we are doing this, and all it takes is positive thought for you to actually start the ball rolling.
Exactly.
Nothing else. Believe in yourself. Get in touch with yourself. Go and give yourself a phone call in the bathroom, in the mirror. Just talk to yourself.
It's cool. That's fucking actually, that is amazing sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with it.
No.
Get in touch with yourself. Start believing in yourself. See yourself.
Yeah.
And then start working on these principles. And you're going to find sort of such freedom and liberation from it as well when you feel the restraints coming off of you.
Not only that, when you see your thoughts manifesting in the real world, like snail hating, which we're going to talk about more, because it's something that is just happening because you had to have it happening. You had to create it, and now then it's just taking up its own form. So this, I think, is going to be inspiring on so many levels because people see that it is possible, and they don't even know your full story, right? So we're going to have a chat. I'm going to move my office down into the basement, right? And in there's going to be this beautiful studio, which is just two good chairs and a table in between, and a camera, and just sitting there talking, and just let me hear where you've been lately, and show me a little bit of things.
Yeah. Well, that's also another thing that I certainly do. I certainly do try and sort of like work with everybody that I do get into these kind of conversations with, you know, whatever level they're at, which is this ridiculous fear base. Okay,
Yes.
I've got nothing of value that anybody could take from me through fear. Okay.
Good spin. I love that.
I will sit there and tell you exactly all my experiences to try and inspire you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's certainly not to sort of like make you go and cower in a corner or anything like that. I don't agree with that idea and that sentiment. We're not in a timeline, a dimension, a place now where we need fear.
Exactly.
Okay, fear is a construct which is so dense and it now makes me feel sick, right? Because it is so three-dimensional. It's dense. It's horrible, and you see see these radicalized sort of, people sort of like in different sort of systems of belief, dogma, whatever you want to call it, that are still working on a fear-based system, and they're trying to push that forward to get
Exactly.
what they want, is the wrong way of doing it.
Exactly.
It's counterproductive because you're not going to get anywhere with it, and it's being proven.
Yeah, it's very simple. Like the way when people ask, how can you live this life with that zest for life? And their answer is really simple. Like if you see everything is energy, then some people might be like, okay, how the fuck? But it's really simple. Love is a very, very potent, high vibing energy. Fear
Absolutely.
is a very low, dense, heavy energy. So
Absolutely.
yeah, and the more you face that fear, you're gonna release it. You're gonna accept it, and then yeah,
That's the bottom level is all consuming. The top level is all giving.
exactly. 3D, 5D. It's very simple. Just be in love with your life.
Yeah, exactly. Love yourself. You are who you are.
Exactly.
You are what you are.
There's a song.
Get in touch with that side of
Yes.
yourself.
Absolutely. See, we're gonna lives have shifted as they do when we talk. I think a lot of people who've seen this now will sit there and contemplate existence for a little bit, and this is good. This is really good because now I say that the answer is in the question. You know, if you ask shitty questions, you're gonna get shitty answers. But this, am I capable of loving myself? How do I do that? Right? What am I capable of doing? All these things is just gonna lead to new horizons.
And here's the other part of it as well, sort of like, don't try and push or force any of this,
No.
because the answer will come when it's ready.
Exactly. And then to get there, people will always have this, well, how do I do that? It's so simple. What do you love doing? Then do more of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Become yourself. You will find your answers. They're all within you.
Exactly.
They
Exactly.
are all within you. It took me a long, long time to understand that one. But once I started accessing it and started believing in what I was actually thinking and understanding, well, okay, yeah, it is in me. It is me.
It is.
I know me.
Exactly.
I am me.
Yes.
I am.
Yes.
That's
Love
it.
your face.
Whatever may come or go, I am.
Yeah.
am.
And I mean, if you go down to that core, I am, that is enough. But then when you get to that, you're like, I am, what do you want to be?
Exactly.
I am limitless. I am love. I am so freaking authentic. Yeah.
Whatever you choose.
Exactly. But it starts with I am. And that sounds like a very good place to cap this off. Thank you. I'm going to have to go pick my daughter up for an adventure.
Yeah, cool. Good talking with you again, bruv.
Good talking to you. Love your face.
Mm.
See you soon.
Take it easy.
Take
All
it
right.
easy.